Hi, I'd like to make a quick video today. Some bad news. Apparently, Grandmaster Ip Ching had passed away at the age of 83. Hi, welcome to this session of Wing Chun. Master Ip Ching have passed away at the age of 83. Just to give you a little bit of his life biography. He passed away at 11 p.m. With an illness that he already had. That was January the 25th, 2020. He was born in Fasan. He, of course, Ip Man, he's son of Ip Man, and he had obviously an older brother, Ip Chun, and also he actually have two sisters. And what happened was at his earlier life, he learned the basics of Wing Chun with his father. At the age of 13 in 1949, Ip Man fled to Hong Kong due to the instability of what's going on in China with the Cultural Revolution and with the Japanese and then peace taken over, but it was still a turmoil in China. So he escaped to Hong Kong, and his father escaped to Hong Kong, leaving the two sons at home. And actually, the wife and one of the older sister had came to Hong Kong with Ip Man, but then the wife had went back to Fasan to get the two kids, and the sister. And what happened was when they went back, there was an iron curtain that China had restricted people leaving afterwards. So the wife. The two daughters, Ip Ching and Ip Chun, was actually stuck in China. So Ip Man was left in Hong Kong by himself. So what happened was Ip Man was alone for many years, and he started, teaching Wing Chun because that was actually the only way he could make a living. He couldn't find any kind of a way, a means to survive in Hong Kong. So that's what happened, in Ip Ching's early life. So he had the absence of his dad. Well, his whole family had the absence of Ip Man, starting from when he was 13 to when he was 26. What happened is his mother passed away in, I think it was 1960 in Fasan. The mother had passed away. And 2 years later, in 1962, when he was 26, when Ip Ching was 26, him and his brother, and I think the sister too, managed to leave China. That was when the Cultural Revolution was beginning to start. And they managed to leave China and went to Hong Kong and joined his father. Ip Ching's full name was Ip Ching. The name Ip is not pronounced with the IP, actually, not Ip in Cantonese. I don't know why they did that. It's with the YIP to pronounce it correctly is Yip. Yip is the same character as the word leaf, like a leaf on a tree. And the Hok Jing, Hok means to learn, and Jing means something proper, something correct, proper, straight and narrow. So his name is to learn to be proper, and that's kind of like the meaning of Ip Ching. I don't know why they call it Ip Ching with a C. The pronunciation is Ip Ching. So Ip Hok Ching. They don't use the Hok just for short. They call Ip Ching. It's kind of easier, I guess. So he went back to Hong Kong, and what happened was that his mother had passed away, and then he went back to Hong Kong. To, obviously, the two sons live with the dad, and there was a lot of family dispute problems between the two sons and the dad, because they found out that Ip Man had harbored a mistress. I know it's not mistress because in 1960 the wife had passed away, and he couldn't have any contact with them, the whole family in China, because of what's happening at the borders between Hong Kong and China. But I think he was already well into another relationship with a Shanghainese woman. So what happened was the two kids, Ip Ching and Ip Chun, they were not very happy with the dad. So the dad had moved out of the house and then started living with the new Shanghainese woman. Ip Man also had a son with this Shanghainese woman. So I think that's also why they realized that Ip Man had the relationship early on, even when the mother was alive. So even though, I mean, there's not much he can do, because I think for him, his family was actually completely disconnected because of the border being closed. So it's a very tragic incident, that unfortunately that's what happened. Because of that, they didn't really learn a lot of Wing Chun. They did go to the dad's house to learn Wing Chun, and that was it. There wasn't really, you know, there was a rift between the father and the two sons' relationship. So, however, Ip Ching seems to be the one that was closer to the dad most of the time, and when everybody came to learn their lessons, Ip Ching, even though when he wasn't practicing with the father, he would observe the teachings of the father. So imagine Ip Ching in the background, you know, observing what's going on, observing how his dad was teaching. Observing how his dad was teaching, for instance, Wang Sunleung. Observing how his dad was teaching Cui Chongtin. Observing his dad when his dad was teaching Sei Leung Ting. All the famous masters that are, you know, some of them are still around today. So you would say that Ip Ching have probably a very, very high knowledge of Wing Chun. He probably knew a lot more Wing Chun than he's actually telling us. Unfortunately, he's not no longer here anymore. So Ip Ching had a business for a while, and although at night he went and he practiced Wing Chun with his dad, even though the relationship was not that good. I think it got better on as time went on. Ip Ching had actually seems to have taught a lot of students privately, and some of his students might have been famous. And one in particular is Samuel Kwok, which I met once. And Ip Ching seems to be very, very modest, and he seems to keep it very low key. He's actually a very patient and very good teacher from what I can see. So he has a lot of videos on YouTube. He later on in the early 70s had retired with his business and began to help assistant teaching full-time, and he taught students privately. He's not as outspoken. He's a very, very modest guy. If you look at some of his video, he's very patient, and he's an amazing teacher. And I would say that his knowledge in Wing Chun is extremely, extremely high. And he's telling us not as much as he actually knows, a lot more than he's telling us. Simply because he seems to be the one that's been around Ip Man, I think, the longest time. So his Wing Chun is at a level that is most likely higher than everybody else because he got the overview of his dad's teaching from everybody. Because Ip Man taught his Wing Chun to all these people very differently, and he taught different things to different people because he catered his curriculum to that particular student. So I think Ip Ching have actually be able to see that difference between student to student. And because he's such a modest guy, and he's the younger son, so he's not very vocal. He lets Ip Chun take care of most of the logistics that has to do with his father, because it's customary in the Chinese culture to let the eldest son do the representation of the father's legacy. So he's been extremely modest, and that's unfortunate because I'm sure that he took with him a lot of secrets about the martial arts of Wing Chun that nobody, and I mean nobody, knows. So we really like to, I really like to honor this individual for his achievement, and this is the legacy of Ip Ching. So this is the news of the week, and have a nice day, and thank you for watching. Thanks, bye.